Cool. So welcome to my quick talk about young creative careers and the importance of them. Thanks to Emrys and Fraser for setting this up. It's a great thing that everyone is doing here, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. So I'm just going to talk quickly a little bit about my background in the creative industries and how I got here. So yeah, this is a little bit about me. My name's Callum. I have a BA in illustration and an MA in communication design. I kind of struggled through the primary and secondary education system. I had a lot of troubles learning during school time. I just didn't really get on with the way that I was taught, I think. And since then, I kind of spent 5 years working out what a creative career is. That involved, like I say, 4 years at art school, meeting a lot of very interesting and helpful people. As everyone is in the arts, I think they're very good at helping each other. I've been lucky enough to be on 3 internships. I started my own business as well, which puts me in a unique position of being a young person who also runs creative events for young people. So I hope I can provide some insights on that front as well. And now I've been working within the industry for 1 year as well. Although I put not really there because I think there's an unrealistic expectation in the creative industries for lots of years of experience, when actually I'd argue that I have 4 years experience studying at university. So I thought that was important to note. So what can creative careers be? I'm sure everyone has their own ideas of what creative careers can be, but I just wanted to outline a few different ones for people. Just kind of talking about arts and culture careers in general, and then like design careers, and also careers in marketing and more lateral areas that you could go into. Because I didn't know any of this when I was learning at school. I didn't know that you could do a degree in say illustration or design and then go into a social media job or something like that. So I think just the importance of what I wanted to say on this slide really is kind of I think it's important to help people develop skills and see how they can be applied to creative careers. So as early as possible, really. I think if that's something they want to do now, not every young person who is creative will want to turn that into a career, but I think it's important to be able to show them how that could look and how they can, and then help them get there basically. So I included some more kind of unconventional things on there, maybe like mural painting and stuff, and writing as well. These are all things that I've managed to do as part of my career and also get paid for. So now on to some of the difficulties that face young people in the current climate. I think a lot of these don't need much saying towards, I'd hope, seeing as most people are working in these industries. I'd hope that everyone would know about a lot of these things anyway, but I think it's just important to know that, you know, these issues are massive issues that are hugely important for us to think about, and very difficult for hurdles for people to come over. But it's even more harder for young people. So it's just really the responsibility of people in places of privilege and in places where they might be more developed in their careers to help people who are younger and just starting out, basically. Yeah, so onwards to opportunities, and I kind of put this in a rough order, but I think this goes in so many different ways for so many different people. So it's not a linear progression path necessarily, but you start in education, and then you look onwards to how those skills can be developed from there. You might bring in creative hobbies at this point as well, and then you can, you know, go on to develop opportunities in areas of higher education and internships, apprenticeships, mentoring, and work experience, and things like that. So I will give some good examples within the industry in a little bit of who I think is doing these things well, because I'm sure everyone knows about these opportunities, but There's a lot of really interesting kind of groundbreaking stuff being done, especially in mentoring spaces and online courses at the moment that maybe people don't know about. So yeah, this moves me onwards to probably I think the biggest example of success in just every front of helping young people get into creative careers. Um, this program called Bricks and Finishing School is a program ran out of London, and it aims to build young people's skills, get them doing fun creative stuff, and then also they have partners directly in the industry, so they set them up with placements. From that, the whole experience is very um, personal and tailored to you. And Ali Owen, who runs the program, is amazing. So I'd really recommend anyone looking into Brixton Finishing School as a kind of champion of helping young people to get into creative careers. They really do it all with an advertising kind of slant on it. Um, so now on to examples of failure. And I think I put this in there because it is just the direct opposite of examples of success. But I think it's important to look at examples of failure because I think it helps, see where things are going wrong, and apply them to maybe organizations that you might be working in, or just kind of challenge yourself and hold yourself as an organization accountable for things that might not be going as well as they could be within the organization. So yeah, and the one at the bottom, I think that's more about kind of devaluing the young people's creative skills. I think sometimes when they're offered positions in creative careers, they can be kind of relegated to these positions that are just admin. I think for you to get true value out of young creatives and for them to show you their true value, they need to be given that autonomy and creative freedom within those roles to really they're the people who are going to be pushing your organizations forward ultimately. So you have to kind of put that trust in them. um, so now I just wanted to move on to some examples of people who have kind of inspired me within my career. And these are all young people as well who have positions within creative organisations, all in the east of England, where I'm based. And yeah, so I think it's good to see a lot of differences of opinion because my opinion on what a creative career is and what an organization how an organization should be run is one thing, but I think it's better to hear from more people, to be honest. So yeah, I wanted to include some advice from these young people to you guys today. And this first bit of advice comes from Lewis, who runs an organization called Toast Poetry, aimed at putting on live performance events surrounding poetry and performance art. And yeah, Lewis's advice was really interesting, and I think is a mantra that rings true to me as well. Just to see other young creatives as a community and not your competition. So that's basically just about helping each other out and being supportive of whatever's going on, not seeing yourself as an island. And that's both in the cases of not being afraid to reach out to other people, but also offering your support when you have capacity to do so to young people as well. So on to Julia, who is my amazing co-worker at my business, and she really showed me kind of the value and the importance of having a break and also delegating work. But her advice is about, again, a bit of collaboration, and also just skill exchange, actually kind of taking that collaboration a bit further to kind of offer skills to people, potentially not expecting, but potentially in exchange for other skills, which is great advice, I think. Now to Ailish. Ailish is a marketing intern at Norwich University of the Arts. I live in Norwich City. She also does so much more than that, though. She's a very successful freelance illustrator, and just hugely productive person, and she's taught me a lot about kind of standing my ground, and bigging myself up. But her advice was about, yeah, being patient and working hard, knowing things that will come eventually. And I think that's yeah, so important to hear as well. And then I had some great advice here from Roz, who's a freelance artist, and has done a lot of exhibitions in the east of England, surrounding activism and fine art. And yeah, she really taught me about the the transferable skills from your background of education, and how they could turn into a creative career. So her background was in law and business originally, um, and she took a kind of diversion after a year of university to change her career into kind of graphic design and art. And a lot of the work and the knowledge that she did around law and politics as well informs a lot of her work. So yeah, her advice is create fearlessly without restrictions, and you don't have to stick solely to what you've been taught. And I think that's so important. Yeah, you should never create or be creative in fear of anything. Now, yeah, that's not always possible for some people, but I think it's something to strive to, definitely. And finally, I just had a quote here from Colleen. Colleen is a cinematographer who moved to the UK not too long ago, and has taught me a lot about um, progressiveness in debating creative issues, and how to go about having conversations with new people and bring them in on these conversations. So, yeah, I think the quote there, we were laughing a bit about saying how that one's probably been heard a lot before, but I think it is so important. Just the respect that comes with knowing that everyone you meet will teach you something new, and never really. I think the main point as well is to kind of never really assuming, go in open minded. I think is the good thing about working with young people, because you get taught so much by them. And yeah, it's so important that you adopt that mindset to help them progress too. So yeah, a bit of a call to action, a bit of a summary of some things that organizations that are working with young people can do for young people, on kind of a practical level, is to provide mentorship. I think there's a lot of mentorship programs, especially that are emerging kind of out of a pandemic, but I think they need to be better. They need to be actually championing these young people into creative career positions, rather than just doing a mentorship program for the sake of the sake of mentoring. I think it's became a bit of a buzzword. I think they need to go a bit beyond to actually make a difference. I think you always need to take risks, and I think that's about kind of the bureaucracy that can sometimes come about when running a organization for young people. I think sometimes the necessary paperwork can sometimes get in the way, or dampen the spirit of what actually needs doing. And I think one way which I found that can really help that is um, getting young people involved in those sides of things too, and kind of not just doing that, because the admin side of things can sometimes be quite boring, but getting them involved in it, and showing them that the skills are transferable, um, and then extending that to help them go places with it. But yeah, I think the bureaucracy of things can be a little bit of a problem sometimes in organizations. I think obviously being intersectional is a huge thing that I think everyone needs to consider. I obviously no longer think it's good enough just to tackle issues one at a time, for lack of a better word, just kind of virtue signaling certain issues. I think it needs to be all encompassing all the time for anything that your organization is doing. I don't think it can afford um, to exclude in any way. I think there's a lot of work that also needs to be done around adapting programs to be intersectional, and then some more kind of practical things as well. I think setting goals within an organization for young people is always helpful. Setting them up with connections is also great as well. But I think one point on kind of connections and networking would be, I think it's better when that they can just make them organically, and you're kind of providing a platform for it, and instead of shoving connections in their face. I think it's better to make that happen organically, and that would be different for different organizations and how people will do that. And then I think receiving constructive feedback, giving constructive feedback and receiving constructive feedback, as well as the point earlier about being taught and teaching. So that's just about learning from everyone on both sides. And I'll just put at the bottom here some little bits to remember. I think some really important points that sometimes I've seen organizations forget are that you need young people in your organization. Ideally, I think the organizations would be ran by young people, and facilitated by people who are outside of that. But I think that's easier said than done sometimes. So I think the sticking point is that young people don't owe you their time for projects that you're running. You're not getting funding you're not finding the young people for that. You owe them your time. Like, that they need to actually benefit from what you're doing. They have to be involved in every stage in the process. So I think that was just something that I found really important to highlight. And speaking from my position, our organization is only ran by young people. Everyone who we kind of collaborate with and work with in a profound way, they're all young people. So I think it's a good thing to have as many young people in an organization as possible. That should go without saying. And I've just provided some kind of resources here. I think Emrys has sent these out to everyone to kind of give a good idea of a few programs that I think are doing good things. Organizations that maybe bridge that creative career gap between being non-for-profit and also having really good industry connections. So the top two are the main ones. Good Nugget, again, it's a mentoring scheme, but it is kind of so much more than that. So I'd recommend everyone looking into those. Pair Up as well is really good. It's kind of a more casual kind of social media kind of site where you can be paired and have kind of conversations with people in other creative organizations and businesses. So that's kind of accessible to anyone, people running arts organizations, young people running arts organizations, and young people who are just wanting to find out a little bit more about creative careers. And then I've included some more kind of go-to creative careers resources that you can share with your young people to kind of get them to find out what skills are applicable where. What I would encourage as well is, obviously we've got people from kind of all over the middle of England here. So look and research in your own areas and kind of find out what's going on locally as well, because it's a great way to kind of give a step up. And I'm sure the organisations who are on this call today are already doing lots of things in these spaces, or if they're not, they kind of should be doing a lot of things in these spaces in terms of creative careers for young people. And I think I just wanted to just kind of highlight that in instilling the idea that for young people that creativity can be a career is really important. Not necessarily that everyone who is creative wants to turn it into a career, but I think the narrative needs to be that you can. There's obviously been a lot of things going on that have been pushing back against that idea in recent times, but so I think it's even more important to counter that narrative. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to finish by saying best of luck to everyone with their creative careers if you're a young person on this call, and also best of luck to all the arts organisations in working with young people. If anyone wants to get in contact with me, all my information is here. Yeah, I kind of pride myself on getting back to everyone within 2 to 3 days. Yeah, if you want to ask me anything about anything, just drop me a line. So thanks again, Emrys, for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on tomorrow.